So, all right, we have rewound the game state. I said, you know what? I normally know how these things go. This is why I let the judges do it. They are just rewinding it. All those cards seem to be back in hand. And I'm going to commentate this the same way these players are going to play it, where we have that information. The fact that Stefano knows Solitude and Force Negation in hand for Yuri means that it's going to dramatically change his play. I mean, he should just almost maybe not even play a card here because he knows he's going to lose the battle until he can double spell, or play a card he's fine losing. So this
Yeah,
territory
i-
Kavu is coming down.
is he okay? Yeah, and he's kind of probably going to be okay to just lose this now, and he'll probably not fight over it. So it's a bit difficult to decide who that's going to actually benefit, but he's going to choose to use a prismatic ending on it instead.
Yeah. And the prismatic ending means that consigned memory doesn't trigger. I assume it doesn't have a thing that it can trigger on, but it does still have consign. And you see here from Stefano, knows there's a solitude, doesn't haste the Draco like you would normally see. We can play the Draco now, even without the black. It is sort of being able to cast here. And since we know about that, we are going to be able to fetch here for the black land, haste with Arena of Glory, put one mana in one Draco, one mana in the other Draco, present two of them. Uh-oh, even if you have an answer here, there might not be enough. And if we do have Watery Grave in our mana base, we can even consign the Solitude trigger here. So we'll have to see. I guess we can actually use the Steam Vents in order to pay for the red, since we have Basic Mountain as one of the lands. So you
Yep.
actually have everything beat here, Stefano. And this is what you're supposed to do when you want to play around cards and try and beat them. You try to play to this, and sometimes it's just a little easier than others to know what to play around.
Yeah, exactly. Once you
Mhm.
once you once you have information, it's really handy. You don't tend to get the information as a zoo player to this extent, but if you have it and you could use it, then you try to make it work. Um, if I'm with on Yuvi's side here, I just have to forget about it, and I just have to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do. So there's an Orm's chant, which changes not much. I don't think really here now. I guess it changes the ability to. Well, it doesn't. They just changed the ability to stop that. Yeah. So we've kind of retained parity now. We are cards deeper in the overall state of the game, but we're back to a point where solitudes have been dealt with. Uh, We're back to a Draco now. So is this going to be a subtlety? Yeah, there's a subtlety, and there's a consign, and now we can't force though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we've replicated the consign as well, just in case there was, some card we couldn't think of. And Draco beats Subtlety in the head-to-head unless Kahira gets involved.
which is still quite difficult for them to do. Um,
Mhm.
oh, no, he's no, that's where the life
Unless the
tilt is at the
life
top.
total works.
I
Yeah.
thought he was leaning for it. Let's
No,
see, let's
I
see. Oh,
oh,
that's verdict.
that is verdict. Yeah, I get we want to hold up Force Negation. I really wish we were recycling our lawyer to be able to work towards Kahira. If Kahira was taken and gets put into play, you win this race pretty easily, actually.
Yeah, exactly. You do get there quite quickly. There is the land for turn. This is gonna be one of those
Yeah.
situations where like it's so tempting to just clean the board, but you're right. The cycle. Oh, we're gonna draw.
Yeah, I think Yuri, I'm just gonna commentate this as I see it. I get a feeling from his body language he's pretty frustrated with how this game's played out with the ruling and like the knowing everything. And I think that he's not fully playing, through like what does winning look like, right? Because attacking with the subtlety doesn't make a ton of sense towards winning. You're never gonna beat the Scion, and if you're gonna draw three cards, you're playing towards, like a longer game, which means, you don't need to really worry about this. So I imagine we're just frustrated and probably, getting there. It could be that, we feel like this is great, but the Domain Zoo deck has a lot of answers to Fairy between Stubborn Denial and, Leyline Binding and things like that. So if you have a Stubborn Denial, you should fire it off. You're never going to get a
Yep.
chance again with Teferi.
Yeah, exactly. Plenty to do, and another Taviri. A nice little follow up. Oh,
Okay,
that's
so
the ley line binding.
Binding. Yeah, hit the Subtlety in response so that, you can start winning the race. You get a card for your trouble as well.
And they've sculpted quite a nice hand now, Yuri. So you're gonna just effectively see the same damage pushed. They've gotten down to 3. There's always the prospect of a bolt or two in something like the main zoo. But there's the
Oh, and
scepter. There's the
Scepter
chant.
chance. Yeah, and this is I like where Stefano's head was at. He was sort of like, "Hey, I need to just, attack there." Nothing he could really do. I think it'd been very easy to attack the Teferi and think you're helping yourself, but great idea there just to try to close that game out. And this is the nice thing about this blue white control deck versus a normal one, right? Is you actually win games. You don't soft win. The game is locked out. They can't do anything. It's over.
Yeah. Now this is where pivotal sideboard moves will matter. You want to stop those interaction pieces on your creatures, because you don't draw loads of zoo, right? Like you
Mhm.
sort of get a great opening gambit, and then you end up like, unless you're necessarily getting escaping flages or things like that, you are going to be short on cards. So you want to have to fight over a little here, bringing in your consigns, and bringing in stuff that's going to stop them get to that pieces. Anything in particular you'd want to call out?
Yeah, trying to play the Delver game, like you said. So, Consign, Mystical Dispute, those are great cards for sort of playing this little mini game here. And we're going to just jump on over to the blue white control deck, it seems. From their perspective, they actually want to do kind of a similar thing. Consign can stop a lot of these problematic cards, excuse me, and actually fight back in a few spots. They can even hit a Draco. So we might see that. And then Dispute against Dispute is always something that you can consider when that's going on. It can even just be a fine kind of clunky-ish answer to, if your opponent tries to dispute your Teferi, you dispute back, or you dispute a consign that's hitting, your Solitude trigger. I would say in general, though, we're probably going to present very close to the same deck with for sure Wrath of the Skies and Celestial Purge coming in as well, as they do answer most of the problematic cards that you want to hit.
Yeah, exactly. And quite a classic race, really. In all honesty, the domain zoo
Mhm.
just needs to develop and counter, and Yuri just needs to control and get there. And we'll see where they take that now into game 2. Bear in mind, as a reminder, this is the 9th round, and they are looking to hit the top levels for prizing. Both at 6 and 2 now, so we probably give a good guess that there's a considerable jump now if they hit 7-2 versus the 6-3, and see if we can see a different see it out to a game 3 in this particular one.
Yeah. Looks like a mulligan here for Stefano.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a Mulligan to 5. So that's very backbreaking for Zoo. But be saved by a Vagavan 2-1, which is good.
Mhm.
But a Prismatic getting rid of this. Oh, well, not yet. But not, so we see got a little bit of a window of hope here. No ley line either, so that's pretty tough when you're the domain zoo player, where you've had two, you've had game 1 and you've had game 2, you've mulliganed to 5, and you've not seen a presentable hand with a ley line. So gonna get in here though. Oh, beautiful! That's beautiful. That's a beautiful pickup. One that was gonna cause you trouble, and now is in exile.
Yeah, interesting spot here. We have a territorial Kavu, so using the treasure to play it actually makes sure that you have domain in case you're low on lands.
Yeah,
But it looks like what we're going to do is fetch up one of our duels. So we're not going to have a 5/5 Kavu, but we are going to hold up a blue. Pretty loud sign. Do we have something like Stubborn Denial or Consigned to Memory or Mystical Dispute in hand here? And we want to make sure our Kavu resolves and is protected more so than getting a maximum value out of it.
yeah, because your Carvus is like your only engine. So
Hmm.
although you almost sometimes put Vagavan out there as, charging the monkey charge into victory, like your Carvu is the one that usually resolves, stays on the battlefield, and starts to chip in and also cycle through your deck. Gonna naturally hit domain here if that's the choice that they were after. Discard and draw, and
And
it's
we
a
hit a
Narset.
Narset. This is actually pretty huge. If you play this Narset, this turns off a lot of, the ability to get locked down in other ways, and you actually have a good number of things you want to hit. Leyline Binding, Consign, Mystical Dispute. I think this makes a ton of sense to give up the ability to play a Draco right away and have the 5/5 Kavu in order to once again hold up whatever blue interactive spell you had. I guess you can also, do it this other way. So it looks like
Yeah,
counterspell just
interesting.
gets dropped. And there's the dispute.
Wow. Okay. So I think they win this fight quite cleanly because
Mhm.
you're only worrying about a sweeper from about turn 4. Well, I guess there was potentially Wrath, which will help.
Yeah. This is a spot where I mean, Yuri can win. Like you can like Orange Chant kick, and like set up a lock. But some of your draws are just eliminated. And even if Narset whiffs, like the only cards that really matter for Stefano are the things that protect these creatures or stop Yuri from winning the game. Excuse me. So you have to reveal that card. There you go. It's a mystical dispute.
So
But
what
yeah,
you don't want to see the fact it's a mystical dispute because that's not good for
yeah.
you. But yeah, and they're only they're only surveilling a land. So
Yeah, and it looks like the hand star charts, you know, uh, and just lands for the most part outside of, maybe
interesting
one
because
other
Yuri
spell.
still seems to be frustrated in line with the previous game as well.
Yeah, he might be just frustrated too about this one. The way this one has gone has been very pretty poor for him. His answer to Ragavan got exiled off the top. Then, this Narset, gets taken from him. He found something he wanted pretty quickly. I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Maybe it's like a. Oh,
it
yep.
was a supreme verdict he found.
Supreme Verdict. Okay. Well, another consign. We have one in hand for Yuri. This is sort of there for the whole turn. That would stop something like a Solitude. Obviously, you probably would have solved that beforehand, but sometimes plays get weird.
I think that's a Flage, but he didn't take a Flage, he took a stubborn denial.
That's Stubborn Denial for Stefano. You can only take non-creature spells with Narset, so
Yeah.
and
Okay,
then
so here's the reset.
yep, and nothing can be done about this. And this is why you still see some players have a couple of verdicts, despite Wrath of the Skies and the Jeskai build often being the same card but a little cheaper and hitting more things. Is there are plenty of counter spells, right?
The arena glory is huge to be able to like potentially rush out the win, which is good. Um, we
All
do
right,
play
there's
one
Doorkeeper.
Thundering Falls.
Yeah, Thundering Falls. A little awkward. There's Kahira to hand. All
Okay, that's
right.
a that's a threat.
Well, it's even huge because your Flage won't die to escape. So if you draw it, you can just haste the arena and attack for lethal. Doorkeeper Thrall, weirdly a good hate card, weirdly a good synergy piece.
Yeah. Almost like the torpor orb interactions we're seeing in standard now.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, you get a torpor orb, my elementals will just be big 5/5s instead.
Hmm.
Let's get in with it. Let's get in with the thrall. Let's see where any responses are going to come from this.
Interesting. Stefano holding the Draco in hand here, maybe trying to set up a hasty forward to,
Yeah, it
change the
feels that
math.
way.
Maybe
Kira?
also hoping to draw fetch.
Just to
Well,
go.
this leyline binding, this feels like bait to me almost. Yeah, because it's like whatever the Kahira couldn't block anyways. All right. Didn't go for the potentially lethal Scion. Wants to hold up another turn. I I'm a little surprised not to see the Scion be go for, just because Hardcast Solitude was on the table for Yuri, although maybe we're just not worried about that card.
Oh, we're looking to mystical dispute. So we knew about that at this point.
Hmm.
There's another Teferi in hand.
You would normally just pay, right? So like probably isn't going to play Teferi. I say this as he seems to be tapping for Teferi. Interesting.
Can't do anything here that's going to be impactful other than potentially doing the old I'm going to stubborn denial and make you pay the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,